Hello. Um, Happy Wednesday. I'm a little bit, well, I guess this isn't really anything different for me. I'm a little bit out of sorts. Um, Side note, I just saw Denise, I hope that your mama is okay. She said she was in urgent care with her mom. Um, so well, this is not obviously our first Wednesday live. This is the first live Wednesday of summer break. So trying to corral my kid, let him understand what he can and cannot do while I'm in here, um, took a little bit of time. So, did I do any of the prep work that I intended to do? No, I did not. Do I have anything prepared other than where we left off the other day? Still no. But am I here? Yes. So hopefully we can still get done the goals that we had intended to get done today. Um, so I have them raised up just like they were the last time. Um, and hopefully once we make it full screen, we'll be able to, it'll be a little bit closer for you guys. We also very excitedly have some sneak peeks of the upcoming release. Hi, Lisa. Um, so we have some sneak peeks of the upcoming release, which I'm very excited about, and we will have sneaks of those all the way up until the release. Every Wednesday, we'll be doing little sneaky sneaks. Um, so yeah, I think that's all the business that we have to attend to. Uh, for those of you who joined our Monday night premiere and gave suggestions, thank you so much for that. And I hope that today maybe you've brought some suggestions of some lives or some premieres that you would like to see. But since we have been, this is the first one that's ever taken us 3 weeks. Like normally we can knock them out in two. Um, so hopefully we can get this one done today. Obviously, both of our little kitty cats are done and colored. And so we need to finish up our little puppy dog here and this little puppy dog here. We are still using our OLO markers. Let's talk about that. I showed this briefly in my premiere video. So this is the one that I have been working off of. And I kept saying to you guys, like, I don't think this has the second collection on it. I don't think this has all the colors. And it doesn't. This is collection one and collection two. So you might be asking yourself, what are all these little white lines that you're seeing? I have the half markers. Um, and so I'm just randomly going to pick one here. And so the half markers are two different colors, one on each side. So one of the biggest frustrations for me in using my Olos was having to hunt down the color, because the the half marker size for the Olo contains as much ink as one Copic marker does, because theirs are free flow ink and these are like the barrel ink. They have the filler in the middle that absorbs the ink. Um, so it seemed really pointless. Hello, Tiffany. I hope you are also having a wonderful day. It seemed pretty pointless for me to buy two of the same color just so I could have one full marker. So I bought the halves, and I've been pretty happy using the halves, and it doesn't bother me to color with a half marker. What does bother me is when my marker is in my set like this, and then I can't find this other color. It was driving me crazy. So what I did was once I put them together, in this case, this is an OR 1.3 and an OR 0.3. So here they are together. I did a little with my white gel pen. I did like a little C shape to connect them. So now I know if I'm looking for this OR 1.3, I could be looking for either one of these colors. And that I hope will allow me to use them more often, and be a little less frustrated with that. Um, if you have room for a tower, it works great for two different colors. Um, I don't know what a tower, Brandon, fill me in. What is a tower? The only um, storage that I know that OLO offers is this guy right here, and this fits 64. So maybe I need to go back on their website and see what this tower business is about. This is their storage. Is there something besides this, Brandon? Is that what you're telling me? Because like I bought this when I bought the first one. Oh, it rotates. So I do need to go in. Okay. All right. Good talk, Brandon. I appreciate your service. All right. So I do need to go see different storage about that then. That will maybe drive me a little less crazy. But the colors are still good. This is what we've been using. And this is Sandy Allnock's hex chart. So this is not affiliated with OLO or with Honeybee, but is an incredibly helpful tool to have. And it costs like $5. Oh, Lisa, wonderful. If you order the tower for the website, that would be fantastic. Because I do love shopping at Honeybee because they carry so much more than just their own stuff. Um, so there was only one that I really had a hard time reading, and you can see it kind of up here. I had to write the number in my white gel pen, but other than that, even the blacks, like I can see the printed bit through them. You guys probably can't, but I can. So anyway, just something. They have the you did an Excel spreadsheet. Brandon, God bless you. You are so much more organized than me. I am not doing an Excel spreadsheet, my dude. I am not. I had to used to have to do those for work, and I don't work there no more. So anywho, so we're going to be sticking to kind of like the same color families that we've been using. So I'm going to take my face off the screen so that we can get in here and do some coloring. I might have to, hi Wen, I might have to do, move this down like we did before so that it gets a little bit closer, but I didn't use this. I need to put this back here um, so that we can see. Okay. All righty. I'm going to move you. Can you see all of them over here, just laying over here? I haven't really been creating too much this week because we've had a lot going on family wise. Let me, I think I need to back it up just a smidge. All right. Close enough for government work? I think so. Okay. So, yeah, we've just had a lot of other things going on, other things that we've been doing. So I have not been creating too much. I'm kind of right in the middle of another set of cards. But I desperately need to clean my desk. So that is something that is on my list today. And then today is the first day that it's been warm enough for us to actually utilize our pool. Ohio, well, the weather's been questionable. But today is supposed to be like a high of 82 or something. So we are actually going to try to get our whole family into the pool. And I am very excited about that. Susan, thank you so much for asking. Peanut's music visit went really well. So we do have some more things that we need to do before we commit because it is expensive. If any of you guys have had your children in music lessons, maybe you already know, but it is pricey, y'all. Okay, so now we use the K, C7. I need a C9, I think probably. Because I think we decided last time that we were going to do the tires black and then the underneath, the handle and underneath of this black as well. Is that what we decided? Do you guys remember? Last week I had to go. I had an appointment and we were actually designing my parents' headstone. My dad is still alive, but because they're being buried next to each other, you get to do both at the same time. So I might have been slightly distracted about what we were doing. Oh, your daughter's graduation is tomorrow. That is so fun. Oh, so Susan, you had one doing trombone lessons. Nathan plays trombone in his school band. So we are still continuing that, but the reason that we've looked into the guitar lessons is because he wants to try out for jazz band next year, and that has the electric guitar, and he wants to give that a go. Um, what? Why can I not find this marking? Probably because this whole thing is just a mad disaster, right? You're probably looking at it like Kelly. That's why you can't find anything. All right, I got a C7 and a C and a black. Oh, my C9 is over here. And then I need a C5, which is right here. So the C9 wasn't even over there. Like I was looking for stuff that was not even over there. Um, so Wendy. Well, your daughter does horses, which is equally as expensive, if not more. I'm sure of it. All right. So let me raise these up a little bit so you can see what we got going on here to color in our black. I think these are the same blacks that we used for our little kitty. Oh, see, that's so nice, Susan, that he had like those same friends because he was 4 years in high school and 6 years in college. So, like, yeah, that's like it's super nice when they make those friends. Um, I want him to have friends that he has, I wasn't in marching band, but I had a lot of friends in marching band. Um, so and I also dated a football player. So Friday night I was typically at games during that season of life, even though if you watch my channel, I abhor football. I think football is the worst. That's that's probably left over from my dad, who was a wonderful man, but who was a very old school dad. And he was king of the castle, so whenever he was home, he watched what he wanted to watch, and then we all just had to suffer. And I'm gonna tell you, I suffered a long time with football. Yeah, a long time with football. Mm. But then you have other people, like my mother-in-law, like she loves watching football because that's something she used to do with her dad. So I guess to each their own. All right, so that's all where we're gonna put our black. And now we're gonna go in with the C9. And I know this looks like we are using the same color, but we are not. And we are working up to that lighter color of that C5. So we're going over what's there and just extending it out a little bit. Just hang tight with me because it will come together. And then the C7. So we're really just going to have like the finest little highlight edge for our C5. But just like we saw with our little kitty cat, it really does make quite a bit of difference having we were not going to have any highlight under here because it's buried underneath the wagon, so it wouldn't be getting any light. And it's important when we're doing this to make sure, because we have twin items, we have two wheels, to make sure that our highlight is in the same sides. Otherwise, that won't make any sense. All right. So now here's our highlight color, and we're just going to go right over that edge. And it will then give us that dimension. So let me hold this up for you so you can see that it is not just flat black. Just like, let me try to get the kitty in here. Just like with our kitty, we can see, where his paws are and his feet are and all of that. So now, I think I'm just going to color in these little centers just with the C5. I don't think we really need to do too much to that. We were talking about these white walls the other day. I can't remember how we got on the topic. I was with my dad and we were talking about like white walls and all these different things that were kind of like in fashion. And he was like, now you never see them. Like, I wonder when they went out of style. So of course, me, I Googled it. And they actually went out of style like in the 60s and 70s. People were no longer interested in doing the white walls and they've never kind of come back around. All right, I'm going to do, there's not a lot of real estate here with the greens. So I'm just going to, it's really just a couple of little dots. And I think because we did the wagon green, green's natural complement is pink. So I think we're going to do some pink and purple flowers. The white wall is the wheels. So now, like the rims that you have, like sometimes they're chrome, sometimes they're black. But back in the day, like back in like the 50s, it was all the cars had white wall rims that were very, very popular. You can see them a lot of the old school cars, like the classic car shows, the white walls. Okay. So I also, like Susan, you just said Brandon's such a youngster. I feel like Brandon and I are around the same age. Brandon, are we not? I feel like we are. I thought for some reason we had this conversation before. Okay. So I think, not this one. I think we used these last time. Lori, thank you so much. I do appreciate your prayers for my dad. He is doing okay. Um, Fortunately, he has 3 daughters, so we kind of shuffle him around from house to house. So that, we're all cooking for him and he's, he's busy and he's getting out of the house. Also, my parents always, like when they went on vacation, they always went to Vegas. And fortunately here in Cleveland, um, they built a casino some years ago. And so he has been spending some of his time down there, which he did before as well. Like him and mom would sometimes go down there, or sometimes he would go by himself. So I think he is adjusting fairly well, but I imagine that the hardest times are probably at night at home. Um, so he like I think that's why we keep, well, I mean, obviously, because my mom, they had a very traditional marriage. My mom, cooked, cleaned the house, all of that stuff. So pretty much the only thing my dad knows how to make is meatloaf. Um, so I think also getting him out of the house at kind of like that dinner time hour helps to kind of break up the aloneness. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hopeful. He says he's doing okay, and I guess I have to believe him. So Cassidy, they are not baby Copics, they are OLO markers. We've been using them for this whole series that we've been doing. We've been using the OLOs because some people have OLOs and they don't have Copics. I think I'm going to do the same. Um, a lot of McDonald's breakfast with friends. Yeah, he un- unfortunately, a lot of his friends have passed before he did. So he doesn't have too many of those left. All right, so now that one is done, and I am happy with the way that these ones are looking. So then down here, we have an opportunity to do something a little bit different. So I think, as you guys know, I always talk about like cohesiveness in our card design. So in every one of these, we have an element of kind of like this stainless steel brush metallic. So I do think that we do one of the buckets that color, but then we kind of have an opportunity to play around and do the other two buckets a different color. What do you guys think about that? I think I feel like, okay, I'm gonna go in with a purple for just some of these. This is not dark enough. Gotta get a different purple. Let's try this just to make them a little bit more on the purple side and break up the color a little bit. I said I was gonna do them pink and purple, but then I was talking and I did them all pink. Okay, there, just a little bit of color variation. Okay, so we got teal, tan. Um, I'm not opposed to a teal. Um, so we'll have this green. So let's do the one we know is going to be silver, and we'll work out the rest of the colors. That's a warm gray. I need a cool gray. There we go. Okay. So some of you guys who watch my videos before, Barbara had mentioned like the best thing you can do is visit. Is we when with my mom, we would do family dinners on Sunday. And so after talking to my sisters, I believe that is something that we are going to continue doing. Um, but also so we can work on like cleaning the items out of the house. Um, because as I'm sure most of you can understand, like when Graham passed, like mom had a hard time getting rid of any of her stuff. So like that stuff also has to go. Sarah, I don't find it to be too awkward to hold a half marker. Um, Everybody is different. Um, but I don't find it to be too terrible. And as we're doing this, I notice I missed the tip of his tail. So I'm gonna have to go back and snag that. Okay, just get that little tail. All right, so he's in the silver bucket. We're gonna do the pink and purple flowers. So maybe we do one of these like a sapphire colored bucket, the bluest buckets. I think that would be good. Did I put them away? I think I did. So I gotta look on my, see how handy this is? Rose, thank you very much for the compliment. And also, I am very lucky to have sisters. That is for sure true. All right, so I think we did the 7, the 6, and the 5, I think is what we did. So we got the 6, the 7. So would I let my Copics run their course? So here's the thing, because I have invested in so many Copic markers, um, I have a lot of the refills. So, I mean, I'm stocked for quite a bit of time before I would ever be like switching anything over more permanently. I like them both. The Copics I am more comfortable with because I've used them for longer. So it really is just a comfort level thing. Um, because I already know my color combinations and all of that stuff. Now, I'm sure, like I said earlier, giving myself an opportunity to use my OLOs more, that could absolutely get more comfortable with these. I'm just not there yet, but I don't ever foresee myself completely foregoing my Copics. I've just spent too much money. So, and here's the thing, they're both alcohol markers, so they actually work together. I did a video on that, like, that you could use them together. So if you spent a ton of money on your Copic markers and you're like, "I'm not getting rid of these things," there are some sections of OLO markers that I mean, they just did a better job at, like, pulling out the pinks, and the purples. Like, I prefer those. I'm gonna grab a slightly lighter color, uh, for this highlight. Uh, so, I mean, I could see this is a B 0.3. Um, I can see using them together. Um, I don't foresee myself completely getting rid of them. So that's just me. Now, if I was new and I was just starting, um, I don't necessarily know that I would have, not just got Olos versus the Copic markers, because the price point is so much cheaper. Um, but that's just not my situation. So I would say, do whatever works for you in the situation that you're in. And then what was the other one we said? Teal? I think we said teal, right? Yeah. You have trouble with your Copics drying out. Yeah, it really depends on, I've heard lots of stuff where people have said, like, their uh their markers dry out, they're like, so they're not as good as they used to be, per se. But I don't I don't have that problem. So it's really hard for me to kind of say what I would do when I'm not in the same position. Oh, I think I missed something. What's happening with Lisa? Now do I need to scroll back? Oh, no, you gotta go, oh, you're not remote anymore. Yeah, I don't under that's a big business thing that I don't necessarily agree with, because people have proven over the years that they can be just as efficient working at home, uh, without being micromanaged by their employer. But nonetheless, all right, so the teal and then the 2.6. Oh, this is darker. Hmm. It doesn't look darker, but it is dark. So I am going to go over what we just did with this color, and then I will go back in with this other one right over top of it and make that work. Okay. We still want those highlights in there. Okay. So now we have 3 colored buckets. I need to color the gray on those. My little gray handles. Does anybody else? So my husband was, I think I might have told you guys this. My husband was teasing my sister and I because we were, she comes over here sometimes and helps me, organize or get some things sorted for my own business. And then I get to see her, and also, it keeps her from having to have another part-time job. Um, so I was trying to teach her how to link products. And, and we were both sitting at the kitchen table and we were just talking to ourselves as we were kind of like working through the problem. And I do mean talking to ourselves. We were not talking to each other. And he was like, "Are you guys like, are you mentally okay? Like, are you with it?" And I'm like, this is what I do all day. I talk to myself. I can't be held responsible for what I'm doing when I'm alone. Yeah, I'm not sure which. Okay, Michelle said that she's not sure which Olos to get. Here's the thing that I always recommend, whether at any alcohol markers, like think about what it is that you like to color and then gravitate towards that. So let's say you like to color people or animals, then you're definitely going to want to pick up some more neutral tones, more browns, grays, things like that. If you're a person who you're like, I don't ever color little peoples, um, I like you if you like to color a bunch of flowers, then I would recommend getting like some greens, some yellows, and then whatever your favorite color is. Um, so like that is how I always picked mine, and then you can build them up as you find a need for them. Tell them you have someone intelligent to talk to. So you talk to yourself. Very cute, Susan. My husband, he is the king of sarcasm. I'm sure he would enjoy that. Okay, let's check out these purples. I got a 1.6, which is a little versus 0.3. So I do want maybe some brighter ones. Yeah, here we go. A V 2.3, 2.4. I would really like, where's the 2.6? What are you connected to? There we go. Okay. Kim, if you do work with somebody who they talk to themselves frequently, yes, I imagine you would have to tell them, like, you need to say my name if you want to get my attention. Okay. So now we're going to do the same thing that we did up here. I'm just intentionally going to put in some purple flowers instead of just color glazing them. So this is the 2.3, 2.4, and 2.6. And we're just going to pop a couple of purple ones in here this time around. And if you're not familiar with these sets, these were drawn by the fabulous Dawn Wolfslagel. She is so talented. I always love her illustrations. She draws the cutest critters. I have never seen somebody else who has her kind of style where they're still very adorable, yet somehow like sophisticated. I'm not disappointed with the 128 set, but I found the greens lacking and ending up using the 32 newer set for the greens. They are way better. Okay. Are you going to post your favorite OLO color combos like you have with the Copics? This helped me so much with figuring out which ones to purchase first. Lori, I'm so glad that that was helpful for you. I certainly can. Um, right now, I need to take the time truly to go in and link all the individual markers. Um, when they first came out, they were pretty much just in sets. So I didn't really like stress too much about linking individual markers, but now that I'm using them more often, I do need to go in and do that. So once I take the time to go in and do that, then yes, I will definitely link the ones that I prefer to use. Brandon, I did I did struggle as well with the greens with the first set because I like a yellow I love a yellow green. So I was on the struggle bus as well, but once the second set came out, um, that included the more yellow greens, I was definitely a bit happier with how they were looking. Michelle, I totally get it. Um, my suggestion would be to wait for a sale. Like that, I bought all of my Copics, like my first Copic set. I bought a Groupon to Jerry's Artorama, and then I sat and waited for there to be a sale, and then that's what I went in and bought the bulk majority of my Copics. Because like you guys are using what is it? Ohuhu, and there's something else that the Spectrum Noir. But back when I started coloring, like those were not an option. The only kind of off-brand alcohol marker at the time was by Marvi Yakurta, and those are the ones that I bought. And they smelled like almond extract, and I loved them. But once there was not a there was not a lot of other options at the time. Um, and there was not a lot of variety in the colors they even had available. So um, it was pretty easy for me to just know I was going to switch to Copics. Okay, so these are all of our little guys colored. Just scoop them down. So now we get to turn them into cards. All right. So remember how I told you guys I needed to clean off my desk? Well, nothing's changed, folks. All right. I did pull these out because I knew I was going to need the sentiment from them, but I did not necessarily pull out the dies, which now I do need. So give me a second to locate them. Is this them? Oh, that wasn't too bad. Okay. We're not going to mess around with the sentiments yet because we don't really know what our card design is going to be. We're just going to work on cutting these out. Oh, oh. So I shared with you guys, I can't remember, that Jelly Bean and I have started a fairy garden. So I'm not speaking of Dawn always used to tell me, like, your time for gardening will come, like it's gonna happen. And I was like, girl, I got a black thumb. I kill all my plants. Like, I don't think it will. And now all of a sudden I own like 9 plants. I don't know what's happening to me. Pretty soon I'm gonna be bird watching. So just something to note, like we chose to stamp and color the pre-scenes, like the scenes that came together, like Dawn had already put together, but just something to note, like there are like single kitties that you can use, like a little extra flower pot, a little extra birdie, some grasses, things like that, that so you can kind of build your own or build off of their scene. Oh, Lord have mercy, I bumped you. So that's just something else. And it's the same thing is true for the dogs. If you've not used that set before. Okay. Oh, Michelle used to live right near Honeybee. I mean, obviously, with the way that things turned out, I would never change the time that I got to spend here at home. But I do hope that someday Honeybee will decide to do another in-person event, and I will be able to go out there. It just didn't work out this time. and that's okay. Alrighty. Now, like I said the last time, I'm not coloring in any of the grasses or anything like that until I get them onto my card. Um, because oh, we gotta wait on this one. So I can do this one. If I could find a piece of tape. We'll see how this one does. Alrighty. Okay. Alrighty. I'm gonna move these since we're done with the coloring. And I am going to grab my, well, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just bet. I'm just going to die cut them off screen. So just bear with me because I don't have, since I didn't clean my desk, I don't have a lot of real estate up there. It'll probably be a little less painful to do it just where I normally die cut. Oh, who knew that butterfly was disconnected? Not me. Okay. So now we got our little guy looking particularly adorable. This one is the one that the butterfly came from. Okay. Now I need to do this last little guy for our little kitty. And I'm thinking instead of doing 4 cards, maybe we'll put the 2 kitties together and the 2 doggies together, or a doggy with a kitty. What do you guys think? What should we do? Nope, that one put up butterfly too. Okay. Okay, doggy with a kitty, doggy with a kitty. Okay. So let's see this one. This one. Let me pull out my, I did pre-cut them. Will I be able to locate them? Anybody guess? All right, here we go. So this guy here and this guy here, we have to be careful with this because they're in the same scale. Or we could do this one. Okay. So that's not too bad. Let's look at it with 2 doggies. I think maybe I like the 2 doggies better. It almost looks like this one's kind of like backing up to his buddy, like, put the pots in, bro, we gotta go. So I do like this. I need to, that one's got the butterfly. Okay, so this one has, this one also has a butterfly. Okay. Yeah, Cassidy, I pretty much that's all I do because I love a scene card and I love creating little narrations for them. All right, so let's get this guy in a little bit closer. We'll put this. So here is a design tip a lot of people don't talk about. When you're building a scene, you I'm gonna flip it around so you can see what I'm talking about. When they're like this, okay, and they're facing opposite directions, it looks very disjointed, like the whole scene isn't together, just like two elements on a page, but they're not working together. And this one, even more so, you'd be able to tell even more so. Like there's no connection there. So when we're putting our little critters together, or you want them to be facing each other, or facing your sentiment if you only have one. So like if I was just doing this little guy here, like I would do my sentiment somewhere up here or somewhere down here. So yeah, Sarah, each one could be its own scene. You are absolutely correct. Um, this one's got a piece right there that didn't pop out. There we go. Okay. So I think we're going to end up with two landscape cards. And then to further tie them in together, you could do you remember how I told you that they had their own, like they had extra little birdies and stuff? So you could put like a little birdie down here that would tie in like this bluebird, and it would also give you that visual triangle. Um, so that's something else to keep in mind that you could do. I'm going to flip flop these back around. So, and purple butterfly over here. Same thing. She also has this little tiny butterfly in here that you could put, to just kind of like tie those in together. Same thing with like the grasses. Um, so I think this is what we're going to go with. And we're going to do really simple scenes. We're not going to get too crazy with the backgrounds because, we've put all of this work into the. Ooh, I bumped you again. I'm so sorry. This one's like salvage patina. Salty ocean down. Now, let me see if I can quickly. If I can't, then I'm just gonna. Okay. So I think I can maybe do a little bit of something here. So these stones kind of stretch out a smidge. Um, so now we got to find now we got to find all of our brushes, yo. We got so many. Okay. So I got greens, greens, greens. Um, oh, so for some reason, my front-facing camera has gone out, it's telling me. So maybe I have, okay, hold on one second. Sorry. This doesn't really affect us right now, but it will when um It will when we're at the end. So let me just see if I can try to fix this real quick. If I cannot, then we'll do our goodbyes on. Okay. I think, all right, we're going to do this real quick. Can you still hear me, see me? Okay. I think we're good. All right. Back to this. I'm not sure why that camera just went out, but whatever. You're struggling to make Northern Lights ink blended background. I'm in my third attempt. I have done that, but it's been a while, Brandon. The date for the new release, Susan, the date for the new release is the 27th, I believe. June 27th. Okay. So, oh, we were getting these together. That's what I was doing. I had a purpose, and then I just got sidetracked. Are there any blues in here? Here's my salvage patina. And here is my blue. This is that's distress oxide. So I don't know if you guys can tell. Here, I'm just gonna hold these up. I know they're two different colors, but like I can tell just by looking at them that this is a distress ink and this is a distress oxide because it just sits different on. It almost makes your bristles more like clumpy, where this like remains really soft. So if you are a person who does ink blending, make sure you're not using them like both on the same type of thing. We don't want that. All right. And I thought I had a gray one down here, but it doesn't look like I do. So let me, oh, there it is. Okay. Okie doke. Now I'm going to get a sip. I need a little sip of tea. Okay. Now I'm going to move these little guys because we'll worry about blending them into our scene in just a little bit. We're not going to worry about that right now. So I know from watching uh, the Honeybee Lives beforehand, before I was doing them, when it was Kelly Cahoot, and in talking with you guys, that a lot of you prefer distress oxides. So I have tried to kind of dip into using oxides a bit more often, but I'm going to be honest with you, they do not, they're not as bright. So I don't love them. Do not love them. So here, I'm just giving myself a little bit of area for my rock path to go into with this pumice stone. Kathy, I like the look of inks, even though they say oxides are better for blending. So I do think that if you're using one color, it is easier to get a smoother blend on the oxides because it has that pigment property where it stays wet longer. But the way that they look is definitely different, and I don't think for blending, different color families, I don't feel like the oxides are the best version for myself. So who was it? Somebody, Susan was asking about how we store our embossing folders. I store mine in the same kind of refrigerator drawer style tubs that I store my stamps in. All right. So we're just Bringing in some grasses. And this is just to give us a little bit of dimension. Okay. And then while I have like the green all the way already down on my mat, so I can avoid cleaning it twice, I'm just going to set this aside and do my greens for this one as well. So I do think oxides are a great tool to have, um, because it does give you, different techniques that you can do with the pigment properties. It also gives you better coverage. When you're ink blending, you don't have to work as hard to get a good blend. Um, but I still prefer the distress inks. I just always, like, if I'm looking for full coverage, um, I just always do mine twice, and I have not had an issue. So this is just the same thing. This is just a nice kind of easy background. I used these same stamps um, to create a couple of different cards. I did a video for it, but I basically built up the entire scene uh, and then trimmed out what I wanted to create my card finish. So they were about I think one of them maybe was an A2 size, but the rest of them were different sizes. So um, those were kind of like 4 quick scene cards. All right, so now I am gonna do this. I am gonna go back over this one because I am not loving the way that that is looking. Well, thank you very much for the compliment about loving my ink blending. I appreciate that. It does take a little bit more work, I know, but um Lisa, I don't have either. I seriously considered getting oxides to be able to ink on dark cardstock, but found that I can lay white pigment ink down and then add dye ink over that. Yes, you can. That is absolutely true. Um, it's not, the colors aren't as bright, but I mean, if that's not something that matters to you, I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. So here, can you see what's already happened? We already have like a little splotch right there. Um, but you guys all know me, and I ain't starting over. So we might be trimming our panel. We'll have to see. I'm just going to clean up the screen. And then I can move on to the blues. I do like to start with a bit of salvage patina because I feel like that just gives me this nice kind of soft blend into the sky. And don't forget, like with a blue sky, you don't always have to do the whole thing. You can leave some nice areas that blend kind of soft, that look like clouds in the sky. You don't have to do um, the whole background. I typically do not. I like to leave a little cloud. And then I go over here to Salty Ocean. Salty Ocean is like my go-to. I love a salty ocean. Okay. And then you could even leave it like this. I do like to add just a smidge the corners. Um, Here it is. Just just a little bit. It helps those other colors to look a little softer. And then for this one, like I'm going to skip going over all of them and I'll just go back to the salvage patina and just go over it to create that nice softness just to make sure we're happy with how it's blending. Okay, so that's one. Now, I'm going to just set it back up here. Let's do the other. So for that one, we did kind of the corners. So for this one, I'm going to go kind of this way. Ooh, that was terrible noise. Terrible, terrible. And then over here, I'm going to come in from the side. Okay. And then I move these away. Why did I move them away? I don't know. So I'm not, that's the other thing, like when you're doing your ink blending, your hand should not be hurting from applying pressure. We shouldn't be applying any pressure. We're just holding the the head steady and we're not pushing down. We're just moving in little circles. And our little bit of mermaid lagoon. Don't want to get too crazy, but just kind of show off that blue sky a little. Okay. Give an illusion of them big fluffy clouds. What are those? Cumulus? Cumulus, the big fluffy ones? I'm reaching way back into my earth science class. All right. So I'm good with those. Just gonna stack those up out of the way there. So now we have our two backgrounds. Similar but different. And now let's bring our little guys back in. So we can see what's going on here. And this one sits up here with his little gray, and this one's over here. Maybe bring you down a smidge. Okay, and then here's his butterfly, and then here's his butterfly. Where to buy a single distress mini cube? One of mine got ruined. I don't want to buy a 4-pack. I don't blame you for not wanting to buy a 4-pack. I probably one of the craft stores. Um, well, and they've closed down all the like the Joann's and stuff, but I think they used to sell them as well, the distress inks. All right, so I'm pretty happy with how this is looking between the two of them. Um, and now we're going to have to kind of make a decision about our sentiment. Uh, a little bird told me it's your birthday. That's cute. Hope you're feline better soon. That's cute. I think we're hmm. Let me see what the other options are. Karen, your husband was snoring so bad last night you had to take a nap today. Girl, I can relate. I love my husband, but there are times where I genuinely want to smother him with a pillow. That's just, I love him so much, but when he's snoring, yeah. All right, so sending puppy kisses and birthday wishes. Hope you have a doggone amazing day. You are positively the best. Um, I think we're gonna go. Let's go with the birthday sentiments. Sending puppy kisses and birthday wishes because I need birthday cards. Um, Probably more than anything else. Puppy kisses and birthday wishes. Okay, and then this one is what? A little bird told me it's your birthday. I like that. Okay. So, alrighty. I think that should be. I am notorious for like doing a scene card and not planning out where I want my sentiment to go. And so I have to I have to make a concerted effort um to make sure that I get them in. Okay. Because of some birthday wishes. I wish I could put this lower. Like I would like it, maybe I could put it down here. Maybe if I scoot this over, I could put it down here. Little bird, tell me it's your birthday. Do I like it here? A little different. Leave some sky open. Visual triangle. Hmm. I think we could probably make that work. And then if I do this one, I think a little bit further up. All right. Okay, so now that we know where these are going to go, let's get our little guys glued down so we can finish out the rest of our scene. All right. Got it. Okay. So I need more tea. All righty. Shall grab my tweezers and we shall begin adhering. And then we're going to blend them in and we are going to finish up our blending them, like creating our scene because I can never leave well enough alone. Okay. Okay. And now we're going to shut up, guys. Okay. I think they're adorable. I know I'm team cat and not team dog, but I do think both are equally as adorable. I just, there we go. Okay, there's that one. And these, obviously, like there's some of these that we're going to have to come back and color. We already knew that was going to be the case. I'm team animal. I love them all. Um, but if the owner of one, I am team dog. My I had a dog my whole life. My grandparents had dogs, um, their whole lives. My mom, funny story. My mom, when my parents were they married? I think they were, no, I think they were dating. Um, but she was driving down the road and there was like a big, um, what do they call them? They're very furry. They're gray and white. They're huge dogs. Saint Bernard. Um, nope, it's not a Saint Bernard. Yes, it was a Saint Bernard. But anyway, so he was out on the side of the road and there was some woman who was like shooing him away. And so mom stopped and got him into the car and brought him home and put him in the bathtub and got in the tub with him and washed him up and everything else. And then they were calling him Bear. Um, like, 'cause he was just like a big old teddy bear, and then that actually turned when they found the owner, that actually turned out to be his name. So yeah, very, very funny story, but my mom always loved doggy. Alright, so now you guys know that I don't love the white outlines. So for me, I am gonna go in and blend them in. Now, normally, you will have to bear with me because normally I go in and do this. I show you guys the beginning of it and then I cut it out because it can be a little bit time consuming, but that's what we're here for on the live, right? To learn other things. Um, so here's what I do. I kind of eyeball it, what I think it's going to be for the color, and then I put it down. I always try to start lighter instead of darker. Um, and then I put it down and I see if that works or not. Sometimes I'm pretty good, sometimes not so much. I'm much better at it with Copics because I know what the color is actually going to look like. Um, I think that's doing okay so far. That needs to be darker. Let me get this right here. Okay. And again, over here, just looking for anything that is that really pale blue too. And like this one is an interesting one because you kind of get to pick where the color in the background kind of starts and stops because this is so solid. Um, so you can kind of decide how long you want it to be light before it starts getting into the darker colors. Uh, so that's the B 2.0. Let me look and see here what we got. I think the B 2.2 is going to be the next one. That's a 2.4. The 2.4 I think is really going to be for like these ones back here, and even that's too dark. So that's okay. We'll just keep 2.6. This is the problem with not cleaning up after yourself, friends. Then you can't find it. 2.4. I don't think we'll ever need a 2.6. I don't foresee any of that being that dark. Hey, I'm gonna pull out some of these yellow greens though, since I will need those momentarily. But there's no way that the 2.2 is not down here. It most assuredly is. I just have to locate it. You are being very difficult to locate. There it is. It was underneath the blending brush. And now I've dropped it on the floor. Perfect. But do I know where it went on the floor? I absolutely do not. Okay, Lord. Can I get a helping hand here? Nope, it's gone. Okay. Well, I will. I will have to find it afterward. I'm just gonna go. This is what I mean when I say that I fall back on what I am more comfortable with. Um, I'm gonna use my Copic because I can't find the other one, and I know this will be the right color because I know those colors so much better. So, and then just this little ear over here. This is more of like a blue green. I'll probably have to play around with that a little bit. These ones here. Okay, and here over here. So this part, like I said, is probably the more time consuming portion to get them all blended, which is why I um oh, hockey. Well, I'm glad that her UTI is gone, but um I don't like the sounds of additional blood work. Okay. So these, like some of these, you can go and lighten up if you feel like it's just like a hair too dark. You can go in there with a lighter color and make that kind of blend a little better. I frequently have to layer multiple colors to get them to blend in. Gee, let's try that. And it definitely is it's definitely a process to color them in. I know that. Um, and it's not for everyone, and that's totally fine. Uh, but it is for me. It is for me because I don't like the outlines. And you do have to be careful, like when you're doing ones like this, like where there's a lot of color in there, that you're not dragging darker color. Okay. And then 2.3, 2.5. I need a darker green. Not a true green. I need a darker yellow. Where is that? I need the 1.6, I think is what I'm thinking of. 8.7? What's an 8.7 look like? That's a little too dark. There it is. Okay. So I'm going to get the bottom portions, my mammoth. I'm going to get the bottom portions put in. So this is the 1.6 here. And so I'm going over the grasses in the die cut, and then I'm also kind of extending them out into the card. So they're both being colored in. And then of course, like where they're touching the ground, it's, that you're going to have a little bit of shadow. Um, but in some of the sections, in some of the sections. Like here, this wagon would also have a little bit of a shadow, like under, like where it's casting it kind of underneath it. So we're going to connect that as well. Okay. I'm going to do one and then the other, I think. And then kind of extend that out. I'm careful not to color in those flowers. These ones, the edges just kind of match that background color. So alternatively, you could do like the grass swipies. What does this look like? A little too. So we're going to go over this to kind of blend that in. And again, we can just kind of take this down a little bit farther. You could certainly do like the more like the flicky kind of grasses to create some texture underneath them. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it. I am going to go back and find that G. It's a BG. Yeah, it is. This kind of G01 color, and kind of blend that down a little bit because it's not a perfect match to what's going on in the background, but it's pretty close. It might be a hair too blue, but it's not bad. So we still need some little stuff up here. This is probably too dark. So we can go around that. And then if for some reason you feel like, oh, that's really not the color that I thought that it was, like you can always go back in with a lighter, with a lighter color and kind of blend that in a little bit more. Whatever whatever you think is going to work best. So for the most part, this one's pretty good. Like you can't see a ton of the outlines here. I need to, we're going to have to layer some color for this one here to get it to match well enough. And then I think the same thing here. So, and then I'll go over that again. Okay. So now let's do the same thing to this little guy over here. Oh, we got to get those flowers. I think we should go yellow. Let's go yellow. I'm going to do just like a little dot of the darker one, and then I'll go in with the brighter yellow if I can locate it. I know there are so many people who were like, I cannot create in chaos. And I'm like, if I could not create in chaos, then I would never create. Oh, it's the truth. All right, so now we're going to do this one just a smidge differently because I do want to see some of that, like to work with some of the the grays here. So I do kind of want to bring this down. Like we did our ink blending, but I do want to bring this down just a little bit. Um, so that it looks like it's kind of fading into the grass. I have 1 and 3. Do I have 5 out already? What's 5 connected to? 5 is connected to 7. And are you out and about? You must be. You must be out and about. Yeah, I think I don't even know if Wendy's still in here or not, but Wendy is one of those people. She was like, I have to have a tidy work surface. And I'm like, girl, girl, God bless you, because I cannot. It takes me too long to clean up all of this stuff. I would never get to make anything. Like after we're done with this today, I probably won't even have an opportunity to make anything else because all my rest of my day will be sucked up with cleaning. All right, so I can't find the one that I am looking for, unfortunately. So we are going to kind of fake it until we make it. So I'm just doing just a little bit of dark there to kind of mimic, the stones. And then I will need a darker one. I don't like that brown. I really want the gray, but it is what it is. But here, we're going to do kind of like little rocks. Like come away from. I can find the 5. I'm going to use the cool gray. Go. And then we're just softening these up again with those same gray colors just to help it. Okay, so now we'll go back in. We'll do the same thing with our greens that we were doing before. Oh, there's a hair from my brush. Okay. So this one I will probably do just a smidge different because I need to make that part make sense where they're kind of coming into each other. So I hear several of you guys making comments like these would be so hard to let go. But for me, they are not. And the reason that they are not is because for me, the joy is in the making. So regardless of if I mail them or I don't, the most joy I was ever going to get from them was in the creating of the card. Um, so that's why I did a video a long time ago, and the story title of it was like, "You can throw my cards out." And that is still genuinely how I feel. Like, it doesn't bother me what you do with them if you ever get them, truthfully, because I'm terrible at mailing things. If you ever get them and then you want to throw them away, I'm fine with it. Because the part that fed my soul was not just in the gifting, though sometimes I do give them. Um, but other than that, I'm good. Yeah, Brandon said Eric's brother's card. So I did use the lovely lay no, what was it? It was the lake. It wasn't a lovely layers though. It was a stencil with a cover plate. It was great. It was such a pretty one. It's the lake. Um, and so I did use that one for my brother-in-law's birthday card, and it was kind of like a pop-up layered one. Um, and so him, I did teasingly tell him, like, you better keep that card. Um, but honestly, I told him, I was like, no, seriously, you can pitch it. And I actually think that is one that he saved. I think he did tell me he saved it. So, okay. So now there's that. And now we are gonna finish doing this part. Yeah, I mean, and to each their own. I'm not saying one way is right and one way is wrong, but I don't feel the need to like hold them hostage to keeping clutter in their house just so that they hang on to my card. Like if you want to keep it, great. If you don't, equally as great. I am not, I don't feel one way or the other about it. You could obviously like pop these up, make them different kind of layers. I didn't feel the need to do that, but you most certainly could. So for the scene part, I'm pretty happy with how they're looking. Oh, Lisa's going to go ahead and pull the winner. Wonderful. So I will pay attention to that. Um, and so we're just gonna. I think we just need to stamp our sentiments real quick. And oh, let's do the sneak peek. Well, Lisa is Cassidy Northway. You're our winner. Congratulations. Let me put you up here. Yay. And then you can just send an email over here to customercare@honeybeestamps.com and they will get you your gift card. Um, they're usually pretty prompt about it, so you should be shopping in no time, or you can save it for the upcoming release. All right, so oh, that's what I was talking about. We're gonna do our sentiments, but let's do our little sneak peek real quick. Um, so this is a loosely watercolored, okay? Don't you come at me. It's loosely watercolored. Here's a little sneak peek of what is up and coming with the release. Like I said, very loosely watercolored little sunset kind of scene here. Um, so everybody kind of has an idea of maybe what the theme is for the next release. I love a scene card, so I'm sure nobody is surprised that that's what I chose to sneak. But we will be doing sneaks every Wednesday leading up into the release on June 27th. Um, so hang out and you can next week you can also see another little sneak peek. So, all right, we're going to do our sentiments here. Oh, Betsy, you're so good. See, Betsy's already on it. Cassidy sent the email and Betsy's already getting it back to her. All right. So, this one is the sending puppy kisses and birthday wishes. What did we decide? I think we decided we were going to put this up here, right? Yeah, I think that's what we decided. I'm just going to use my line to make sure it's straight, and it is. Because we stamped in black, that is what I'm going to stamp my sentiment in. This is our intense black ink. Oh, 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 party foul. Thankfully, it didn't land on my card. Wouldn't we all have just cried? Would we have all cried together if I had to bet? Did you see that? That was so funny. All you could see was the side of my face in the corner. Anyway, um, if I had dropped it on there, I think we would have all cried together, I think. All right. So, all right. Let's get these down here. Okay, that is super cute. I'm happy with the placement. So that one's good. Okay. Yes, I should clean this. No, I'm not going to. Okay, moving on to the next. And I think for this one, we decided we were going to put it more down on the bottom. This one's a little trickier. Okay. Put that in there. And then all we have left, like we've already been together for an hour and a half. So if you have to go, I totally get it. But I am a completist. I cannot leave it undone. So I am going to add my little white gel pen highlights and my glitters as well. Um, See, Cassidy, you could make it. You could make it. Make a sign that says, I should clean that, but I'm not going to. All right. So I think that's really cute too. Okay. So now here's our little guys. Now from here, I'm going to grab my glitters and my white gel pen. So we're going to give some glitters to this cute little bird bath, shining in the sun, and of course the birds, the flowers, the little butterflies. Doo, doo, doo. Oh, we missed that little yellow one. Don't worry, I'll get it. Okay. You know what? That's so funny. So, Karen said I should make a t-shirt that says that. I have looked into turning some of my designs into like t-shirts or coffee mugs or things like that. Um, so, maybe that's not that far out of the realm of possibility, honestly. All right. Flowers, buckets. All right. This I use a bunch of different glitter pens. So this one that I just used is the Nuvo one. But I also have where it is located, I don't know. I have the um, Zig Winkestella that also works really well, and I have the one from scrapbook.com. They all work equally as well. Um, so whichever one, I guess whichever place that you're shopping at when you want to throw it in your cart. All right. So now I am going to do some little highlights on my bird bath, all these little sections here. And maybe on the little tops of the heads of the birds. That's cute. This section here and the sides right here along there. I'm going to add some little white dots to these flowers here. Remember, those are the ones we did with the stippling. And just doing some little highlights here and there. Hold on 1 second. My child, remember how we started this thing and I said my child, I had to tell him what he could and could not do while I was in here doing this. Do you know he's out there doing exactly what I told him he could not do? Because children. Oh Lord, it's going to be a long summer. Okay. Little shine on his ears and nose. All right. I think I'm pretty happy with that one. I'm going to add some highlights kind of along this. And as you can see, I'm just letting my pen kind of skip. And then the same thing here with the wheels. And I'm adding those highlights where we left the color the lightest. Along here, along this handle. Okay. Butterfly. Did I get this butterfly? And kind of the same thing here. Get the handle. This one. I'm gonna go this way and get the handle as well as the rim. And I think that should be it. So this one, I'm not going to do it because um, I think it kind of ended up, I should add some to the middle here. Sorry. See, this is what we talk about in my videos when I'm like, I can't stop myself. We're just going to add some to the flowers. I'm not going to because I don't think that it's a huge deal, but you could if this bothers you. See, remember how we had that little green part? You could absolutely trim this down just like a quarter of an inch and then mat it, and that piece would be gone. Okay. So these are our cute little scenes. I think that they are pretty adorable. I don't know what you guys think. I'm gonna bring you. Nope, I'm not. Because my I don't think I can. Let me try this. Yeah, see, my front camera is not, mm, it's not working for some reason. I don't know why. So we're just gonna you're not gonna be able to see me this time, but I think that's okay. So, oh, so Karen said she thinks I should do more lives, like we were talking about in the last one. Um, I'm not opposed to that. So there's this one. I don't know if you can catch the shine. It's really subtle. And then there's this little guy here. I think they came out super cute, even though it took us three tries to get it done. I'm happy with them. You cannot do another live this week. Okay, Brandon. I will not. Um, So thank you guys so much for joining me. I know that today was a very long one, but I'm glad that we got them finished. Don't forget that we will be doing the Monday premieres. So I will still be doing those. Of course, if you have anything that you would like to see, us do in the future, I have that running list going. Just, pop in and let me know. And I will see you. Well, I'll chit chat with you guys on Monday at least, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 1. So thank you again for joining me, and I will catch you on the next one.